Anna sat by her bedroom window. Rain tapped against the glass. Her family laughed downstairs. She was not invited. She touched her throat. No sound came. It never did. Born mute. Her mother called it God's curse. "Why can't you just speak?" her sister Emma would ask. Then Emma would laugh. That cruel laugh that cut deep. "You're broken, Anna. Completely broken." Her father was worse. At dinner, he barely looked at her. When guests came, he hid her away. "No man will want a wife who cannot speak," he would say. "She brings shame to our family name." Anna sat in silence. Always silence. At meals, she watched them talk around her. Like she wasn't there. Like she didn't matter. Her mother never touched her. Never smiled at her. Cold as winter stone. Only books gave her peace. She read everything. History, poetry, stories of far-off lands. She drew pictures in her journals. She wrote her thoughts in careful letters. Her mind was sharp. Her heart was full. But they saw only what was missing. Flawed, they called her. Useless. A burden. One dark evening, everything changed. Her father burst into the parlor. His face was red with drink. "I've found a solution," he announced. "Anna will marry." Her mother looked up. Who would take her? "A landowner up north. James Mitchell. He needs a wife. He's desperate enough to accept her condition." Anna's heart stopped. Marriage? To a stranger? Her hands began to shake. "It's settled," her father said. He looked at Anna with cold eyes. "You leave in 3 days. Consider it your punishment for being born wrong." Her sister clapped her hands. Finally, the mute girl will be someone else's problem. Anna ran to her room. She looked in her mirror. Tears streaked down her plain face. Her brown hair hung limp. Her grey dress was faded. Everything about her seemed less. In her heart, she whispered the words she could never say. "Please, don't make me go. Please." But no one heard. No one ever heard. The world felt cold. Her future felt darker than the storm outside. And so, our story begins. Miles away, another story was unfolding. James Mitchell stood in his study. Papers covered his desk. He managed 3 farms now. The work was hard, but he did it well. He was 32, tall and strong. His dark hair showed grey at the edges. A scar ran along his jaw from an old accident. Some women found him handsome. Others feared the scar. He had lost his parents when he was 15. A fever took them both. Since then, he had cared for others. The villagers trusted him. He settled their disputes. He helped in bad harvests. He never turned away someone in need. "You should marry," his friend David often said. "The Mitchell name needs an heir." James always smiled. "When I find the right woman." That morning, David brought news. "The Hartwell family has a daughter. They want to arrange a marriage." "Tell me about her," James said. David looked uncomfortable. "She's different. Born mute. They say she cannot speak at all." Most men would refuse immediately. But James thought carefully. He remembered his own struggles, the loneliness after losing his family, the way people looked at his scars. "A voice is not her worth," he said quietly. David was surprised. "You would really consider this?" James walked to his window. He watched his tenants working in the fields. Good people who deserved respect. "I believe every soul has value. Perhaps she simply needs someone to see it." That evening, he wrote his answer. Yes, he would meet the girl. Yes, he was willing to marry her. Not for money, Not for status, but because something in his heart said this was right. His friend shook his head. James, you could have any woman in the county. Why choose one with such limitations? James looked into the fire. His voice was calm, but sure. Because I see past what others call broken. I see a soul that might just need protection. And so, he prepared for her arrival. The day arrived grey and cold. Anna sat in the rough cart. Her small bag held everything she owned. Her hands would not stop shaking. Every bump in the road made her stomach turn. What if he was cruel? What if he mocked her silence? What if he sent her away the moment he saw her plain face? The cart stopped. A simple stone house stood before her. Not grand like the manors she had seen, but it looked warm. Smoke curled from the chimney. Flowers grew by the door. She stepped down slowly. Her legs felt weak. She kept her eyes down, waiting for harsh words. But then, a gentle voice spoke. "Miss Anna, I am James Mitchell." She looked up and froze. He was not what she expected. Tall, yes. The scar on his jaw was clear. But his eyes were kind, truly kind. Not the fake politeness she knew from home. He bowed to her, actually bowed, like she was a real lady. "You are very welcome here," he said. His voice was warm, not cold, not impatient. "I hope you will find this a good home." She waited for the cruel comments about her silence, about her plain looks, about being damaged goods. But he just smiled, a real smile that reached his eyes. "Come," he said, "let me show you around." The house was modest but clean. Books lined the walls, real books, not just account ledgers. Her eyes went wide. "You enjoy reading?" James asked. He had noticed her looking. "Please, take any books you like. Knowledge should be shared." Anna pulled out her small writing board. With careful letters she wrote, "Thank you, sir, you are very kind." James read it without frowning, without sighing. "You write beautifully," he said. "Clear and elegant. I look forward to our conversations." Conversations with her, the mute girl. She wrote again, "I will try not to be a burden." James's face grew serious. "Anna, you are not a burden. You are my wife-to-be, and I believe you have much to offer this world." Her heart fluttered. Was this real, or just politeness that would fade? That first evening, they sat by the fire. James read aloud from a book of poems. His voice was soothing. Anna felt almost peaceful. When bedtime came, he showed her to her own room. "Rest well," he said. "Tomorrow we begin our life together." As she lay in the soft bed, Anna dared to hope. Maybe, just maybe, this would not be the punishment she feared. Maybe it would be something else entirely. Days began to pass differently. Anna woke each morning to sunlight through clean windows. No cold mother waiting to criticize her. No sister's cruel laughter echoing through the halls. James was patient. More than patient, he was genuinely interested in her thoughts. At breakfast, he would ask about her books. She would write her answers on her board. He read every word carefully. He asked follow-up questions. Real questions, like her opinions mattered. "You think the heroine should have chosen differently?" He asked about a novel. "Tell me why." And she would write paragraph after paragraph, her thoughts spilling out. He never once looked bored. They walked the estate together. James showed her the farms, the gardens, the small village nearby. He introduced her to everyone they met. not as the mute wife, but simply as Anna. She has a gift with plants, he told Mrs. Sarah, the baker's wife. This after Anna had identified herbs growing wild by the road. Anna pulled out her board. My grandmother taught me, before she died. Wonderful, Mrs. Sarah said. My little boy has been coughing. Do you know what might help? Anna wrote quickly, honey with elderberry, and steam with mint leaves. Mrs. Sarah tried it. The next day, the boy was better. Word spread quickly. The new wife knew healing. She was quiet, but wise. James watched Anna help others. He saw her confidence growing. Day by day, she stood a little straighter. She began helping in the kitchen. Her cooking was exceptional, better than their old cook. James praised every meal. This bread is perfect, he said one morning. How did you learn to bake like this? Anna wrote. Books, and practice when no one watched. You taught yourself? James looked impressed. Anna, you continue to amaze me. Something warm bloomed in her chest. Amazed? In the evenings, James would read to her, but sometimes he would just talk about his day, his worries, his dreams for the farms. Anna listened, really listened. Then she would write long responses, suggestions, questions, thoughts he had never considered. You see things I miss, he told her one night. Your mind, it works differently than mine, better in many ways. Anna wrote, I watch, I notice. Since I cannot speak, I learned to observe. It's a gift, James said. A real gift. As weeks passed, Anna began to believe him. Maybe silence was not just a curse. Maybe it had taught her other things, valuable things. And maybe James Mitchell was not just being kind. Maybe he truly saw something in her that others had missed. The thought made her heart race in ways she had never felt before. Autumn came early that year. Anna had been at the Mitchell estate for 2 months. She barely recognized herself in the mirror anymore. Her hair shined now, properly cared for. Her dresses were clean and well-fitted. But more than that, she smiled now. Real smiles. The villagers had fully accepted her. They came to her for healing advice. They asked her opinion on everything from sick animals to family troubles. Anna saved my daughter's fever, one farmer told James. She's a blessing to this place. Anna wrote on her board, I only helped. The healing comes from God. But inside, she felt proud. For the first time in her life, proud of something she could do. She had also taken over managing the household accounts. Numbers came easily to her. She found ways to save money, better deals with suppliers, more efficient systems. Look at this, James said, showing David the ledgers. Anna reorganized everything. We're saving 30% on household costs. David whistled low. She's got a mind for business. She has a mind for everything, James said. His voice held something new, something warm and admiring. Anna overheard this conversation. Her heart fluttered like a bird, taking flight. That evening, James found her in the garden. She was gathering late herbs before the frost came. Anna, he said softly, may I speak with you? She nodded, wiping her hands on her apron. They sat on a stone bench. The sunset painted everything golden. I want you to know, James began, these past months have been the happiest of my adult life. Anna's breath caught. She pulled out her board. Happy with me? Because of you, James said. You brought life to this house, purpose to my days. You made me remember what it means to care for someone. Anna wrote quickly, you saved me from a cold home, from people who saw me as broken. James took her hand. His was warm and rough from work. You were never broken, Anna. You were waiting for the right place to shine. She looked into his eyes. Something passed between them. Something deeper than friendship, warmer than gratitude. Anna, James said quietly, I think I am falling in love with you. Her board clattered to the ground. Love. With her, the mute girl no one wanted. She wrote in the dirt with her finger. Truly, truly, James said, not despite your silence, but including all of who you are, your kindness, your intelligence, your gentle strength, everything. Anna felt tears coming. But for once, they were happy tears. She wrote in the dirt again, I love you too. James smiled. That wonderful, warm smile that had welcomed her on her first day. Then we are both blessed, he said. As they walked back to the house, Anna felt something she had never experienced before. She felt chosen, valued, loved for exactly who she was. And in her silent heart, she was singing. Winter settled over the estate like a heavy blanket. Anna and James had grown closer each day. They sat together by the fire each evening. She would sew while he read reports. Sometimes they would just exist together, comfortable in their shared silence. Anna had never felt so at peace. This was what marriage should be, she thought. Partnership, respect, genuine care. But peace is often temporary. On a cold February morning, a carriage arrived. Anna looked out the window and felt her blood turn to ice. Her family had come. She watched her father step down from the carriage. Her mother followed, face set in its usual harsh lines. And then, Emma, her sister, looked around with obvious distaste. So this is where the mute girl ended up, Emma said loud enough for Anna to hear. How rustic. Anna's hands began to shake. All her new confidence, all her growing pride began to crumble. James appeared beside her at the window. Your family? She nodded, unable even to write. Do not fear them, James said quietly. You are not the same girl who left their house. But Anna was not so sure. The reunion was painful. Her family barely acknowledged her transformation. They criticized the simple house, the plain furniture, the modest lifestyle. I suppose this is the best a defective daughter could hope for, her father said to James. At least she's out of our hands. Anna flinched. James's jaw tightened. Anna has been a perfect wife, James said carefully. She manages our home with skill and grace. Her mother sniffed. I'm sure she tries, but really, what conversation can you have with someone who cannot speak? It must be terribly dull. Emma laughed. Remember how we used to joke that Anna was like a pretty doll, nice to look at, but completely useless for anything important. Each word hit Anna like a physical blow. All her progress, all her confidence seemed to shrink away. That evening at dinner, the attacks continued. Has she managed to learn any wifely duties? Her mother asked. Cooking? Cleaning? Or is she still just decorative? Anna manages our entire household, James said firmly. She also provides healing services to our tenants. She's greatly valued here. Healing? Emma laughed again. You mean mixing up herb teas? How quaint. Anna sat in silence. The familiar silence of shame. She felt small again, broken again, useless again. After her family retired to their rooms, Anna fled to the garden. Even in winter, it was her refuge. James found her there, crying silently into her hands. Anna, he said softly, do not let them steal what you have built. She wrote on her board with shaking hands. They are right. I am broken, defective. You deserve better. James took her hands in his. Listen to me. Your family is wrong. They have always been wrong. You are the strongest, kindest, most capable woman I have ever known. But the damage was done. The old fears, the old shame, had crept back in, and Anna wondered, had she only been fooling herself? Was James just being kind to a damaged girl he was stuck with? The doubts ate at her heart like poison. Her family stayed for a week. Each day brought new wounds. They criticized everything Anna did. Her cooking was peasant food. Her herb garden was playing in the dirt. Her careful management of the accounts was simple arithmetic any child could do. But the worst came on their last evening. Anna was serving dinner when she overheard her father talking to James in the next room. "You've been very kind to her," her father said. "But surely you plan to find a real wife eventually, someone who can give you sons, someone who can speak your name." Anna froze. A tray trembled in her hands. "Anna is my wife," James replied firmly. "Come now," her father laughed. "This was just charity, a business arrangement. Surely you don't intend to stay tied to a mute girl forever. You're still a young man. You could have your pick of proper women." Anna heard footsteps, James walking away, but he had not answered the question. She set down the tray and ran to her room. Had it all been charity? Kindness to a poor broken girl? Did James really love her, or just pity her? The next morning, her family left. But they had planted seeds of doubt that grew like weeds. Anna began to withdraw again. She stopped joining James for evening talks. She stopped sharing her thoughts and ideas. She went back to the old silence, the protective silence that kept her safe from more hurt. James noticed immediately. "Anna, what is wrong? You seem distant." She wrote on her board, "Nothing is wrong," but everything was wrong. The joy had leaked out of her world. The confidence had cracked. The love felt dangerous now. For 3 weeks, Anna lived like a ghost in her own home. She did her duties, but without passion. She helped the villagers, but mechanically. James tried everything: gentle questions, favorite books, long walks. Nothing reached her. Finally, he could stand it no more. "Anna," he said one evening, "we need to talk, really talk." She pulled out her board reluctantly. "Your family poisoned you against yourself," James said. "I can see it. They made you doubt everything, including my love for you." Anna wrote slowly. "Maybe they showed me the truth. Maybe you are just being kind." James's face grew serious. "Do you truly believe that, after everything we have shared?" Anna looked away. She wanted to believe in their love, but the old fears were so strong. "Anna," James said softly, "look at me." She met his eyes. "I have a confession," he said. "Before you came, I was not really living. I was just existing, going through motions. You brought life back to my world, joy back to my days, purpose to everything I do." He took her hands. "You think I settled for you? Anna, you are not who I settled for. You are who I was waiting for my entire life." Anna felt tears starting. She wrote, "But I cannot even speak your name." James smiled. "You speak my name every day. In your kindness, in your touch, in the way you look at me. You speak it louder than words ever could." Something cracked open in Anna's chest. Something that had been locked away since her family's visit. She wrote quickly, "I love you. I was just so afraid." "Then be afraid together with me," James said. "But do not be afraid of me. Do not doubt what we have built together." Anna nodded through her tears. She had almost lost the most precious thing in her life to the ghosts of an old pain. But love, real love, was stronger than fear, and she was ready to fight for it. Spring brought unexpected news. A letter arrived from the county seat. The annual harvest festival would be larger this year. All the local landowners were expected to attend with their wives. "It will be good for business," James said. "New connections, potential partnerships." But Anna felt the familiar cold fear creeping back. A public event, with all the important families. People who would stare at the mute wife, judge her, find her lacking. She wrote on her board, "Perhaps I should stay home. I would only embarrass you." James frowned. "Anna, you could never embarrass me. You are my pride." But Anna was not convinced. The days leading up to the festival were torture. Anna tried on dress after dress. None seemed right. She practiced walking, sitting, holding her board gracefully. Everything felt awkward. "What if they laugh at me?" she wrote to James. "What if they think you married beneath you?" "Then they are fools," James replied, "and their opinion means nothing." Easy for him to say. He was not the one who would be on display. The festival day arrived bright and warm. Anna wore her best dress, a soft blue that brought out her eyes. James had surprised her with a beautiful necklace, simple but elegant. "You look lovely," he said. "But more than that, you look strong." Strong. Anna tried to hold on to that word. The festival grounds were crowded. Merchants sold their wares. Children ran between the booths. Music played from a small stage. It should have been joyful. But Anna felt every eye upon her. Whispers followed them wherever they walked. "That's the Mitchell wife. They say she cannot speak. Poor man, stuck with damaged goods." Each whisper cut deep. Anna's confidence leaked away like water from a cracked pot. Then, the worst happened. Lady Margaret Thornton approached them. She was everything Anna was not. Tall, beautiful, perfectly spoken, from the finest family in the county. "James Mitchell," Lady Margaret purred. "How lovely to see you again." She barely glanced at Anna. "And this must be the wife I have heard about." The way she said "wife" made it sound like something distasteful. "Lady Margaret," James said politely, "may I present my wife Anna?" Anna curtsied as gracefully as she could. "How quaint," Lady Margaret said. "I understand you have a condition. How challenging that must be for you, James." Anna felt her face burn. James's jaw tightened. Anna's intelligence and kindness more than compensate for any perceived challenges, James said firmly. Lady Margaret laughed, a tinkling, cruel sound. "Oh my, how charitable of you." She leaned closer to James. "You know, if you ever tire of playing nursemaid, there are other options available." The words hit Anna like physical blows. Playing nursemaid. Is that what people thought? She looked around, saw other wives, chatting easily with their husbands, laughing at shared jokes, discussing important matters, things she could never do. Anna excused herself and fled to a quiet corner behind the church. She had been fooling herself. James was indeed stuck with her, a burden he was too kind to abandon. But as she sat there, fighting tears, something else began to rise in her chest. Anger. Pure, clean anger. Why should she accept their judgment? Why should she believe their cruel words over James's loving ones? She thought of all she had accomplished, the households she had healed with her herbs, the accounts she had organized, the respect she had earned from the tenants and villagers. She was not broken. She was different, but not broken. And she was tired, so very tired, of letting other people define her worth. Anna stood up. She smoothed her dress. She lifted her chin. It was time to stop hiding. Time to show them exactly who Anna Mitchell really was. Anna walked back into the festival with purpose in her step. She found James by the livestock pens, still being cornered by Lady Margaret and several other important families. They were speaking around him, over him, like he was not there. "Really, James," Lady Margaret was saying, "you must consider your future, your legacy. Surely you want sons who can speak your family name." Anna approached the group. Her hands were steady now. Her heart was calm. She pulled out her writing board and wrote in large, clear letters, "Excuse me." Lady Margaret glanced at the board dismissively. "Oh, the mute girl returns." Anna wrote again, "I am Anna Mitchell, James's wife, and I have something to say." Several people snickered. "Say?" One gentleman laughed. "How exactly will she say anything?" Anna began writing quickly, but instead of showing her board to them, she handed it to James. "Would you please read this aloud?" she wrote. James took the board. His eyes lit up as he read her words. "With pleasure," he said. He cleared his throat. The crowd quieted, expecting some simple apology or explanation. Instead, James read Anna's carefully crafted words in a strong, clear voice. "My dear Lady Margaret and esteemed guests, you speak of my husband's future as though I am a temporary inconvenience. You question his choice, his happiness, his legacy. Allow me to enlighten you." Lady Margaret's smile faltered. James continued reading. "In the months since our marriage, I have reduced our household expenses by 30% through careful management. I have successfully treated 17 cases of illness in our village, saving at least 3 lives. I have mediated 4 property disputes, negotiated 2 business partnerships, and increased our farm yields through improved crop rotation." The crowd was listening now, really listening. "Furthermore, I have read over 200 books in the past year, speak 3 languages through writing, and can calculate complex mathematical equations faster than most educated men." Several people looked impressed, despite themselves. Anna wrote more. James read on. "You suggest my husband needs a wife who can speak his name, but I speak his name every day, through my actions, through my devotion, through the life we have built together. A name spoken with love is worth more than 1,000 empty words spoken from duty." Lady Margaret's face was growing red. Anna's final words were the strongest. "You pity my husband for his burden. But I pity you, for you will never know the deep love that comes from being chosen not for your voice, but for your soul. James Mitchell did not settle for me. He found me, and I found him. And that is worth more than all your shallow chatter combined." When James finished reading, the crowd was silent. Then, slowly, applause began. First from Mrs. Sarah, the baker's wife. Then from the farmers James had helped. Then from others who had witnessed Anna's good works. "Well said," called out Dr. Patterson, the village physician. "I have seen Mrs. Mitchell's healing work. She is remarkable, and she helped settle my boundary dispute," added Farmer Brown. "Fairest solution we could have hoped for." More voices joined in. People who knew Anna's real worth. People who had seen her heart in action. Lady Margaret looked around, clearly uncomfortable with the shifting mood. "Well," she said stiffly, "how novel." And she walked away, her coterie following. James took Anna's hand and squeezed it tight. "That," he said softly, "was magnificent." Anna wrote on her board, "I am tired of being ashamed of who I am." "Good," James said, "because who you are is extraordinary." As they walked through the rest of the festival, Anna noticed the change. People approached her with respect. They asked her opinion. They treated her as James's equal partner, not his burden. She had found her voice at last, not in sound, but in strength, not in speech, but in truth, and it was louder than any spoken words could ever be. 2 years later, Anna stood in her herb garden, now famous throughout 3 counties. People traveled from far away to seek her remedies and advice. She had even begun training other women in the healing arts. The Mitchell estate prospered. Anna's business sense, combined with James's farming knowledge, had made them one of the most successful partnerships in the region. But more than that, they were happy. Truly, deeply happy. Anna had never imagined marriage could be like this. A true partnership built on respect, admiration, and genuine love. She looked up to see James approaching through the garden paths. He held a letter in his hand, and his face was bright with excitement. "Anna," he called. "Wonderful news." She set down her basket of lavender and approached him, curious. James held up the letter. "We have been invited to the governor's ball. They specifically requested you as an honored guest." Anna's eyes went wide. Her, an honored guest? They have heard of your healing work, your community service, your business acumen. They want to recognize your contributions publicly. Anna pulled out her writing board. "Are you certain they mean me? The mute girl from nowhere?" James laughed. "Anna, you have not been that girl for a very long time. You are Anna Mitchell, healer, businesswoman, community leader. You are exactly who they want to honor." The night of the governor's ball. Anna looked at herself in the mirror. She wore a gown of deep green silk, her hair arranged in an elegant style. But more than her appearance, she saw the change in her eyes. Confidence lived there now, strength, purpose. She was no longer the frightened girl who had arrived in that rough cart 3 years ago. At the ball, Anna was indeed treated as an honored guest. She met physicians who wanted to learn her techniques, businessmen who respected her innovations, ladies who admired her community work. When it came time for speeches, the governor himself mentioned her by name. "Mrs. Anna Mitchell," he announced, "represents the finest qualities of our region through her healing arts, her business acumen, and her tireless service to others. She has proven that true worth comes not from the loudness of one's voice, but from the goodness of one's heart and the sharpness of one's mind." The applause was thunderous. Anna felt tears of joy in her eyes. But the greatest moment came later, as she and James danced together in the grand ballroom. "Are you happy?" James asked softly. Anna smiled up at him, radiant with joy. She mouthed the words, "Completely happy." "I have something to tell you," James whispered. "Something wonderful." He guided her to a quiet alcove. His eyes were bright with excitement, and something else, something that made Anna's heart race. "Anna, my love, we are going to have a child." Anna's hands flew to her mouth. "A child? Their child." She grabbed her small board and wrote quickly, "Truly, are you certain? Dr. Patterson confirmed it this morning. You are carrying our baby." Anna felt such joy she thought she might burst. She threw her arms around James's neck, kissing him with all the love in her heart. When they separated, she wrote, "Will it matter if our child is like me?" James cupped her face gently. "Anna, if our child has half your intelligence, quarter your kindness, and any portion of your strength, they will be blessed indeed. Silent or speaking, they will be perfect, because they will be ours." Anna nodded through happy tears. She thought of the child she had been, unloved, unwanted, seen as broken. and she thought of the child now growing within her, who would be cherished, celebrated, valued for exactly who they were. 9 months later, Anna held her daughter in her arms. Little Grace Mitchell had arrived with a lusty cry that filled the house with joy. "She has your eyes," James said wonderfully. "And I suspect your strength." Anna looked down at her perfect daughter. Grace gurgled and reached tiny fingers toward her mother's face. Whether Grace would speak or not, whether she would be like Anna or like James, it did not matter. She would be loved, completely, unconditionally loved. Anna had broken the cycle. Her daughter would never know the shame Anna had carried. Grace would grow up knowing her worth, celebrating her gifts, confident in her parents' love. As Anna rocked her baby, she thought of the girl she used to be. The one who believed she was broken, worthless, a burden to everyone around her. That girl was gone. In her place stood a woman who knew her value, who used her gifts to help others, who loved and was loved in return. Anna Mitchell had found her voice at last, not in speech, but in service, not in sound, but in love. And that voice would echo through generations to come. She looked at James, her partner, her love, her choice. She looked at Grace, their daughter, their future, their joy. And in her silent heart, Anna sang. The song of a woman who had discovered that being different was not being broken. The song of a love that saw past limitations to the soul beneath. The song of a life well lived and deeply cherished. In the years that followed, Anna's story would be told throughout the county, not as a tale of overcoming disability, but as a story of finding one's true worth, of love that sees beyond surface differences, of strength that grows from acceptance rather than shame. Little Grace grew up hearing this story. How her mother, the quiet woman who spoke with her hands and her heart, had taught an entire community that value comes not from the volume of one's voice, but from the depth of one's character. And Grace learned from Anna's example that every soul has a song to sing. Some sing with voices, others with actions, some with words, others with love. But every song matters, every voice has worth, and every heart, no matter how different, deserves to be heard. Anna's silence had become the loudest voice of all, a voice that would echo through time, teaching others that being different is not being less. It is simply being yourself, and that is always enough.